Saudi Arabia versus the shale oil drillers. Who's won Saudi Arabia's war of attrition?
In this particular war of attrition, there were no clear winners, because if the Saudi and the OPEC intention was to completely knock out shale players, they ended up causing a lot of distress in America. 1 million barrels per day in declining production is a big figure. But at the same time, it was not a fatal blow. Those who had been prudent with their investment and had viable shale plays, they kept going, and they're still going, and they will weather the storm. They actually have already weathered a bit of the storm. Weathering $27 oil prices is a huge deal stateside. So on the one hand, the Saudis managed to knock out a sizable chunk of US production. But on the other hand, if the objective was to land a fatal blow and somehow knock US production down to, say, 5 to 6 million barrels per day, that didn't quite happen. At the same time, the shale players can't claim a clear victory either, because right now both sides would like a $60 oil price. So if $60 is the optimum oil price and both sides would be happy with it, and both sides have faced distress, the Saudis have had to turn to the global debt markets, so have a number of other Middle Eastern oil producers, I would say it's more of a score draw than one clear winner.
The Saudis haven't capitulated to the wishes of any of the struggling oil producers in the last 2 years. Why are they so resistant to propping up oil prices?
The problem is now that they're having struggles of their own. They're having to dip into their currency reserves, their humongous currency reserves, something like $400 billion worth of currency reserves that they have at their disposal, and they're slowly eating away into it, because the Saudi social programs have to go on, especially in light of the Arab Spring and all the rest of it. So the way I see it is that they have reached a point where they've decided that they've caused enough damage in North America, perhaps not as much as OPEC would have liked, but they have knocked some of the US production off, and they think now is the right time to support the price.
Are they shifting in policy now?
It is definitely a shift in policy stance. They want to prop up the oil price, but yet at the same time, they want to hold on to their market share. And that is what, that's where I think the difficulty arises. They've got very lucrative contracts with the Indian government, with the Chinese government, and a whole host of Asian government, which is where much of the direction of the oil flow is eastwards towards Asia. And what they reckon is that if they lower their production, they will end up losing market share. The problem for the Saudis, how do they reconcile their objective of A, stabilizing the price, say at $60 hypothetically, and B, keep a hold of their market share? That's where the challenge is, and I don't think they're quite sure on how they're approaching this.
What about shale oil producers?
The shale players will be happy with whatever they can take, as long as the price is sort of above $40. We don't know what kind of discussions they have with their hedging managers, but I would suspect that most of them are trying to hedge between $40 and $50. And if that's the case, then they'll carry on regardless.
Is this an admission then that the strategy to squeeze out high-cost producers has failed?
I sort of disagree with that, because a number of high-cost producers have actually been knocked out of the market. And if you look at it, if you look at say offshore drilling in the States, closer to the UK and the North Sea, there's a fair bit of distress out there. The only thing is that these zones have kept on going is because some of the investment that they'd made in 2012, 2013 is now coming on stream. But I would say, yes, it has caused a fair bit of distress in non-OPEC production.